Action 7 News presents Celebrate New Mexico, a statewide tour of the land of enchantment. And now, Diane Anderson and Nelson Martinez.
In the next hour, we'll show you the best of our Celebrate New Mexico tour. For 2 months this summer, Action 7 News hit the road.
We covered more than 3,000 miles, enough to go from coast to coast. But we didn't have to leave New Mexico to find plenty of beautiful scenery and fascinating people and places.
That's right, our trip was a real adventure as well, with our Satellite 7 live truck, Sky 7 helicopter, and a crew of camera people and others to get it all on the air. We had a great time doing it, too.
And we hope that you'll have a great time seeing what you might call how we spent our summer vacation. Let's start at the top, the high country of northeastern New Mexico, Eagle Nest, Raton, and Taos.
Welcome to a spectacular dimension to a rest stop or picnic. The Rio Grande Gorge Bridge on U.S. Highway 64, 10 miles just west of Taos.
You know, the bridge rises 650 feet above the canyon floor. And as we've been here this afternoon, you see the light play tricks on the colors of the canyon wall throughout the day. It's beautiful.
The bridge spans the southwest greatest crossover, no doubt about that, and probably the most talked about bridge and the river below it, the Rio Grande.
You know, back in 1968, when Congress passed the Wild and Scenic River Act, this section of the Rio Grande was the first protected river section of any in the U.S., so it's pretty spectacular. They wanted to keep it looking that way.
And here's an adventurous way to look at the gorge from a raft going down the Rio Grande quickly. Anthony Powell takes us along on his trip.
This is Sunset Rapids, the biggest wave in the Taos box. After almost 3 hours on the river, this is the last whitewater on the rafting trip. And once you've entered the Taos box, there's no going back. Buses bring the rafts and rafters to the put-in point, 17 miles upstream. Here, wetsuits and life jackets are the look for the day.
Our trip is about to begin, but before we go, the most important thing, some last-minute safety instructions.
Center of gravity in, very, very important. If your center of gravity's in, if you fall anywhere today, folks, you're going to fall inside the boat.
All right. Our trip has just started, and it's pretty quiet right now, but that's going to change real quickly because just downriver, there is some very mean whitewater. Here we go! This rapid is called Power Line, and as our guide Joe LeBlanc tells us, you will get wet on this run.
Forward now, go! This is it, baby! Woo!
There is a tremendous amount of water going through the canyon, through that tight, narrow part of the canyon, and they create these huge waves.
I looked up and the boat was behind me, and I was hanging on. I could see all you guys, and then I felt somebody grab me and jerk me in. It was wild.
And that brings us back to Sunset Rapids, the last whitewater today. Of the 4 rafts in our group, 2 flipped here. We were soaked and a bit scared, but comforted by the thought that dry land and a dry towel are just downstream.
It is gorgeous. Yeah. And as we just saw Anthony Powell show us about the rafting, there are a lot of other ways to see the gorge. For instance, you could take a champagne sunrise hot air balloon ride over the gorge.
That has got to be spectacular over the canyons. This may not be, the Grand Canyon, but it's
our version of it.
And it's spectacular nonetheless.
Another spectacular spot in northeastern New Mexico is Sugar Reek Canyon, and Satellite 7 is headed for the hills to bring you one of the best views anywhere.
We're celebrating New Mexico today from Sugar Reek Canyon State Park near Raton.
Teresa Davis McKee has more about the canyon and the other beautiful attractions in this area.
Some call Sugar Reek Canyon heaven on earth. It's a fitting description for this beautiful state park tucked away just northeast of Raton. Glistening lake waters that grace the valley are stocked with rainbow trout, and the park has dozens of trails that wind through grassy meadows and towering trees. Sugar Reek is as rich in history as it is in beauty. Between 1910 and 1941, it was a coal camp. At its peak, the camp population swelled to 1,000 people, many of them immigrants from Europe and the Far East. Coal mining is a big part of Raton's history as well. Founded in 1879, the city was a watering stop on the Santa Fe Trail after an entrepreneur blasted a pass through the Rocky Mountains. Raton then developed as the railroad mining and ranching center for this part of the New Mexico territory. You can explore Raton's historic district, which spans about 5 blocks and encompasses 70 buildings, including the Santa Fe Depot, built in the Spanish Mission Revival style. It's still used today by Amtrak passengers. Across the street is the Palace Hotel, built by 2 brothers who immigrated to the coal camps from Scotland. Take a bigger step back into history with a walk into a volcano. Capulin Volcano is 30 miles east of Raton and was active about 10,000 years ago. A 2-mile road spirals to the summit where a trail takes you to the bottom of the crater. After one visit to Raton, it's easy to see why this area is called the gateway to the land of enchantment.
We understand that raton means in Spanish rodent. That's and right. The Spanish called any kind of a little mouse to even the bats.
Even the bats were ratoncitos voladores. Voladores. There you go. Flying bats, of course. Flying rats.
Because they were plentiful in this area because of all the pinon nuts, all the beautiful wilderness that you see here in Sugar Eat Park.
We got a big welcome in Eagle Nest, a place so pretty we didn't want to leave.
And there are a lot of reasons to pay a visit.
If your other half, your better half, is missing this evening, chances are they're at Eagle Nest doing a little fishing, taking care of business.
It's a good place to be, a good place to get away from it all. It's a beautiful little lake up here in the mountains surrounded by the Sangre de Cristos. Down the road just a bit to the north of the lake is a quiet mountain community of Eagle Nest. We had lunch there today. Beautiful little town.
You know, once these resort communities relied on, well, they do now, on the beauty to draw the tourists, but at one time back in about the 1870s, I believe, they relied on gold to bring in a rush of fortune seekers.
That was in 1866. In fact, it began in Elizabethtown, about 5 miles north of here. But as Dan Monahan discovered, visitors are still not immune to gold fever.
Northern New Mexico's mountain streams carried more than winter runoff a century ago. In the late 1800s, these hills were alive with the sound of mining.
And there's gold in almost every creek in this part of New Mexico. All you have to do is work at it and find it. So
with a few brief lessons and a loaner pan, anyone can take a shot at finding a fortune in the icy waters. But remember, all that glitters is indeed not gold.
They might find a little color, some little tiny little grains of sand that look like gold. And that's half the fun.
Nancy Birch leads gold panning adventures into the mountains above Angel Fire.
I don't see anything.
The tour guides insist that patience and panning skill can become solid gold in very small amounts.
Maybe not a fortune, but there's a real good chance they may find some gold flecks, yes.
Of course, we've been out here for a couple of hours now and having very... Wait, no, that's my wedding ring. I got to be more careful with that.
The poor prospects for these prospectors did not dampen their enthusiasm.
I don't expect to find anything, really. It's something to do, and it seems like fun. They promise food.
Most of these gold panners will have to settle for food and fun, not fortune. A streamside lunch, a banquet of mountain scenery, and the promise of a few precious moments, if not any precious metal.
They just come for the fun of it, something different to be out in the country, and who knows? Maybe they will find a little gold nugget. You can't find one unless you try.
This mountain adventure does come with a guarantee, not that you'll find nuggets of gold, but nuggets of wisdom about the American West, and an experience that's as good as gold. Dan Monahan, Action 7 News.
Is that pretty or what? In panning for gold as well as fishing, patience is a virtue, they say here.
You may never hit the mother lode, but better enjoy trying.
That's for sure.
From white sands to an amazing windmill collection, it's all waiting for you when we celebrate southeastern New Mexico right after this break. From the mountains of northeast New Mexico, our best of Celebrate New Mexico heads for the beach in the southeast part of the state.
Beach in southeast New Mexico? You bet. It's right near Alamogordo, and as Dick Niffing shows us, it's one of the biggest beaches in the world.
This is actually gypsum. It's not the silica kind of a sand that you'd normally find on a beach.
The vast sweep of 300 square miles of stark, blindingly white landscape draws hundreds of thousands of visitors to White Sands National Monument just south of Alamogordo every year. Formation of the dunes is a story that started millions of years ago and is still being written.
The dunes are constantly forming. Who knows how old these are geologically, but if you go down toward Lake Lucero, there's brand new dunes forming down there today.
People come from everywhere to see the sands, but be aware that it can get very hot out there, and you can get a double sunburn off the rays from above and the glare bouncing back up off the sand. Man, of course, had nothing to do with the creation of White Sands, but some of mankind's greatest achievements are celebrated at another of Alamogordo's major attractions.
As the rocket tilts one way, the verniers tilt it the opposite way under the control of gyroscopes.
The hands-on, hand-cranked rocket gyroscope is one of hundreds of fascinating historic exhibits at the International Space Hall of Fame.
Today, a lot of people are walking in not having any idea what the space program is about. And here they actually have an opportunity to touch and feel some of the stuff.
There's everything from satellites to rockets to Omnimax space trips at the Hall of Fame on the hill overlooking Alamogordo. And in the skies over the city, you might catch a glimpse of... What was that? It was a stealth fighter. They're all based at nearby Holloman Air Force Base, and while they're not officially a tourist attraction, they sure are fun to watch.
Another stop in our celebration of southeastern New Mexico, Portales, home of Eastern New Mexico University.
This is farming country, but don't think these are just plain plains. Barry Carpenter takes us on a tour.
The city of Portales lies on desert plains less than 20 miles from the Texas border, and the area surrounding Portales is rich with New Mexico history. Just east of town on Highway 70 is Blackwater Draw Museum, where you'll find fossils and artifacts dating back almost 12,000 years, when woolly mammoth, bison, and saber-toothed tigers roamed the region. Recent history buffs should visit Las Portales Springs, once a hideout for outlaw cowboy Billy the Kid. The springs are dry now, but the legend of Billy the Kid lives on. The windmill marks the spot. Speaking of windmills, longtime Portales resident Bill Daly has been collecting them for 15 years. The sight of more than 70 windmills from around the United States and Canada is not to be missed. Be sure and sign his guest book. And 6 miles north of town is Oasis State Park. 190 acres of cottonwood trees, picnic areas, and camping sites. There's also a small lake stocked with rainbow trout, ducks, and catfish. Be sure to bring your pole and fishing license. Barry Carpenter, Action 7 News Network, Portales.
You can guess from those windmills that the winds can really whip up in southeastern New Mexico. That's just what happened when we hit Roswell.
So we scurried indoors to beat the breezes and added a new angle to our celebration.
Just outside Roswell is the small town of Dexter, which is playing a big role in preserving a natural resource.
As Dan Monahan reports, the Dexter National Fish Hatchery is spawning some new ideas.
At first glance, the National Hatchery looks predictable. Small fish out there somewhere in big ponds. Traditionally, these hatcheries have specialized in raising game fish, everything from bass to trout for the angling crowd. But Dexter's hatchery is not traditional.
And a lot of them are surprised when we tell them we haven't really raised game fish and stocked game fish to any degree for probably the last 20 years.
With almost microscopic fins pushing little more than eyes around the pool, these are truly small fry. But they're playing a big role in the unique mission at Dexter. These fish are in tanks because they can't survive in streams.
Our major goal is to prevent the immediate extinction of native fishes in the wild. A lot of those fishes are threatened and endangered. They're in imminent danger of extinction.
The Dexter hatchery is working with about 15 native southwestern species, like the Colorado squawfish, the Chihuahua chub, and the razorback sucker.
People have never even heard of these fish, but yet they're major components of these native ecosystems out here.
The goal is to get these fish delisted, which means getting them successfully reintroduced to the wild and then managing both the fish and their habitat better in the future.
Hatchery officials say it is far easier to get on the endangered list than it is to get off, which is one reason the Dexter hatchery is going high-tech.
With research help from universities and other agencies, the southeastern New Mexico facility is developing fish-saving techniques and technology being used around the nation. The hatchery operators say it's not likely anytime soon, but their ideal would be achieving enough success to put themselves out of business. Dan Monahan, Action 7 News.
Oh, that's nice. A nice hatchery at Dexter for sure. You know, a quick story when I was growing up in Parkview, my dad near Chama took me to a hatchery. What do I know, at 6, 7 years old, I took the fishing rod out and I thought we could do a little fishing. Yeah, that's what he said.
You get booted off the property, huh?
Pretty quick.
It's a pretty quick trip from Roswell to Ruidoso 2, only about an hour. And in that short drive, you enter a whole new world.
Serene, secluded, spectacular at 7,200 feet. We're at the Inn of the Mountain Gods, resort hotel of the Mescaleto Apache Reservation. Good evening and welcome to Celebrate New Mexico. I'm Nelson Martinez.
And I'm Diane Anderson. The lodge is located just about 3 miles from Ruidoso, a year-round playground where as you drive through this little resort mountain town, you're probably going to see as many Texas license plates as you are New Mexico, because it's a favorite location for Texans.
You know, Ruidoso is quickly becoming the Santa Fe of the Southeast, but there's much more to the area than art. The village is rich with tourist attractions.
Barry Carpenter takes us on a tour of what Native Americans once called noisy water.
Visitors will find it difficult to see and do everything the Ruidoso area has to offer. Perhaps best known is the racetrack in the village of Ruidoso Downs, home of the All-American Futurity, the world's richest quarter-horse race, with a purse of more than $1 million. The racing schedule runs May through September. Horse lovers will also want to take in free spirits at Noisy Water. Artist Dave McGarry's larger-than-life equine monument attracted more than 10,000 visitors to the Museum of the Horse the first week after its unveiling. There are 3 golf courses in Ruidoso and 1 at the Mescalero Apache-owned Inn of the Mountain Gods. The inn also features a casino that's open around the clock. Ski Apache is one of New Mexico's premier winter recreation areas, but it's Ruidoso's mild summers that have vacationers heading for the hills.
Normally, if everything is typical here, the summer temperatures run anywhere from the mid-70s up to the mid-80s. Then, of course, we benefit from when that sun goes down, so do our temperatures dramatically. So at night, we advise people to dress in layers. You'll need a jacket in the morning and a jacket again at night, and then during the day, you can wear shorts or jeans.
If the great outdoors is what you're looking for, there is plenty to go around. Take the short drive through the Lincoln National Forest to scenic Bonito Lake, surrounded by campgrounds and stocked with trout. Barry Carpenter, Action 7 News Network, Ruidoso.
And no trip to southeast New Mexico would be complete without a visit to Carlsbad Caverns.
When you visit Carlsbad Caverns National Park, it's a good bet you'll meet people from all over the U.S. and beyond. That's because the caverns are a labyrinth of wonders. Million-year-old stalagmite formations fill the world's largest underground chambers. To take in all this beauty, you'll need to allow a few hours, and you can choose between self-guided or ranger tours. These beautiful formations are located about 750 feet below ground. And while many say it's Carlsbad Caverns that put Carlsbad on the map, believe me, there are plenty of other things to do while you're here as well. In the heart of Carlsbad is the city's scenic river walk, which offers more than 4.5 miles of paths along the Pecos River. On the northern edge of Carlsbad is the Living Desert State Park. Here you can come face to face with a mountain lion, bobcats, and many other species. Step into the botanical gardens for a look at desert plant life from all over the world. If you enjoy boating or camping, visit New Mexico's newest state park. Brantley Lake is 12 miles north of Carlsbad and offers modern campground facilities and plenty of fish to reel in. Our last stop takes us due west of Brantley to Sitting Bull Falls. This emerald oasis is tucked away in the middle of a desert canyon. Beautiful waterfalls pour over canyon walls for another picture-perfect vacation spot. In Carlsbad, Teresa Davis McKee, Action 7 News.
By now, you've probably figured out there is a lot to see right here in New Mexico.
That's right, and we've got a lot more to show you, too, from the atomic city to the city different. So stick around. We'll be right back.
There's a lot right in the middle of New Mexico. A lot of people living in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, Santa Fe, and Los Alamos. And that means you'll find a lot to do both inside and outside the cities.
You know, our Celebrate New Mexico tour took us from an old mining town to the state's largest city to the city different, with more stops in between.
Albuquerque's downtown has the look of a slick, modern city. But our celebration stop took us to this city's heart and soul.
It is Old Town, and we're broadcasting to you from the gazebo right in front of the San Felipe de Neri Church. It certainly has been the spiritual center of Albuquerque since the 1700s when it was established.
1706 is when, so we're going on close to 300 years that this church has been in continuous use. Old Town was where Albuquerque started out, and it was pretty much the center of town until about 1880 when the railroad came in and things moved off over towards Central Avenue and where the railroads meet. But then back in about 1930, a lot of the shops and the shop owners said, let's get some revitalization downtown in Albuquerque and get the tourists back down here. It worked, and now everyone loves Old Town again.
Visitors love the Sandia Peak tram, too. Augusta Meyer shows us what it's like.
I saw some deer yesterday morning, both on this side and that side.
Louis Abruzzo is carrying on a long legacy, long being the key. The tramway his father Ben and partner Robert Nordhaus built back in the 60s is still the longest in the world.
Climbs almost 4,000 feet vertical. It's 2.7 miles long, and the span between Tower 2, which we're coming up on here, and the top is 1.7 miles of unsupported cable.
Next May, the tram celebrates 30 years of taking people to the top of the Sandias for beautiful views, skiing, mountain biking, and more.
Oh, we really loved it. We're just down here from New Orleans, and we thought it was beautiful. The whole area is gorgeous, and the tram is particularly pretty.
Combining first-rate views with transportation, the 15-minute glide along the rugged Sandias boasts granite spires, cliffs, and hardy pines, fir, and spruce.
A lot of the people are really surprised that when they get to the top and look over the east side that it's a lush green forest. It's so cool. And I think that's really surprising because the west side of the Sandias are fairly rocky and a lot more harsh.
Wow. Oh, that was really neat. I was a little scared because I'd never done it before, but I figured, hey, so it was neat.
Welcome back down to the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Sandy Peak Tram and the Sequoia National Forest, I'd like to thank you all for riding the tram today. We're going to let you out opposite my side and have a wonderful day.
Just an hour north is a city that's a popular stop not only with New Mexicans, it attracts visitors from all over the world.
Take a drive down Canyon Road southeast of the plaza. That's where you'll find many of Santa Fe's famous art galleries. Museums are also huge attractions. The Museum of International Folk Art, which some say is the most talked about museum in New York, has the world's largest collection of folk art. Good food and great coffee shops seem to be everywhere around town. And the Santa Fe Opera is famous around the world. This summer marked its 39th season.
And you know, Santa Fe, New Mexico as a whole, is nearly a $3 billion tourism business, or at least a lot in part has to do with the beautiful city that draws so many people from around the world. Joining us now is State Tourism Secretary John Garcia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I just want to tell y'all we really appreciate you in the campaign, the Celebrate New Mexico campaign. It's great for tourism, it's great for New Mexico, and we're excited.
Good deal.
Yes.
You brought us some goodies.
Yes. I've got you some goodies, some shirts and hats,
Yes,
and
nice.
That's a little
We'll
goodies.
celebrate a lot more now.
Well, thank you. And I have a little plaque to you from Governor Johnson and from the Department of Tourism. A little bit of thank you, attaboy, for what you do for tourism and what you do for New Mexico and
Well,
attagirl.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Very nice.
Great.
Even a golf hat. No
Thanks for
question
joining
about
us
it.
today, John Garcia.
Yes, thank you. For years, Los Alamos was a secret city, and it may still be one of New Mexico's best-kept secrets. From Santa Fe, we went on to celebrate the Atomic City.
Well, it's pretty chilly in Los Alamos today, but there are plenty of fun and educational things to do here, sun or no sun. And someone who knows all about it is our Los Alamos reporter, Sabrina Smith. So you've been checking out a lot of things to do and see around here.
Of course, all the weekends. There's never a lack of anything to do. Really, there's something for everyone in Los Alamos. Both young and old can enjoy the rich history here, whether they prefer a hike through Indian ruins or just a stroll through a museum.
You should start your tour of Los Alamos downtown, where some of the secrets of this once closed city are revealed. The Historical Museum is housed on the grounds of the Los Alamos Ranch School, which closed in 1943 to make way for science.
It's two different aspects of science in Los Alamos and the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos. One is the aspect of the scientists who were here, did all the work, but they weren't here in a vacuum. There was a whole community here, and the Historical Society tells the story of that community.
Surrounding the museum are remnants of several communities, the homes of Bathtub Row, a shack from a turn-of-the-century homestead, and Indian ruins. And just down the street, the Bradbury Science Museum offers a look at the lab's history and current research.
We have an exhibit which goes through the various kinds of energy research, waste management, waste research, and also the videotape in that area as well. We try to show some of the new activities that the laboratory is involved with in terms of laser research and in life science research with the Human Genome Project and AIDS research as well.
Once you've had your fill of science, how about a round of golf? This course with its spectacular views was built in 1948. And in the background, you can see the snow is melting in the mountains. That means the trails are ripe for hiking. And speaking of trails, before you leave Los Alamos, you should take time to explore the Indian ruins at Bandelier National Monument.
And if you decide to stay in Los Alamos, there are some wonderful bed and breakfasts, not to mention the great locally owned restaurants for dinner. And we should mention we are located right across the street from Fuller Lodge, the old boys' school, and we're in front of Ashley Pond. Ashley Pond is named for the man who started the boys' school.
A Detroit businessman who came here in 1918.
Very good.
Apparently had a good, successful school for about 25 years.
Until he was sort of booted out for
by
science.
the government.
That's right, that's right.
What's New Mexico's fastest growing city? Our next Celebrate stop, Rio Rancho.
We set up in Haynes Park and got a tour of the nearby attractions from Laura Huckabee.
Intel makes computer chips. The company is bridging the gap between those of us who are familiar with the computer age and those of us who aren't by opening a free museum.
It's explaining it in pretty simple terms, so even people that aren't familiar with computers might be able to get an idea exactly what goes on in your plant.
Right. It's not aimed at engineers. It's really aimed at school kids, our neighbors in the community, any New Mexicans who, and people anywhere in the world who want to stop in here and just get a little better idea how chips are made and how they're made here in Rio Rancho.
If you're into the arts, there are several art studios in the area. Or let's say you're into outdoor activity. If you like biking or rollerblading, you might try out these new bike trails that run for several miles throughout the city. Surrounded by beautiful scenery, old and young alike enjoy the ballparks and tennis courts just off High Resort Boulevard. You like golf? They've got golf. Or a bit of history. There's the Coronado Museum, preserving the ruins of the site where the Spanish explorer Coronado camped while seeking the famed cities of gold. And you can top it all off with a relaxing afternoon in the park, a great place that anyone can enjoy. In Rio Rancho, Laura Huckabee, Action 7 News.
From fast-growing to slow-going Cerrillos, we went to this picturesque old mining town for our celebration of the East Mountain area and the Turquoise Trail.
Well, we're sitting right here at one of the major stops along the famed Turquoise Trail. And if you've ever wondered how the trail got its name, well, it's thanks to places like Cerrillos, which was once a popular tourist or turquoise mining spot.
The trail itself is a 52-mile stretch along Highway 14, which starts in Tijeras and leads all the way north to Santa Fe. It's a true New Mexico back road adventure, offering everything from scenery to history to fun. Augusta Myers takes us for a ride.
New Mexico's wide-open wilderness areas can only best be seen from somewhere off the beaten path, which is why the Turquoise Trail is the perfect Southwest back road adventure. Let's say you start at the beginning. The 12-mile Sandia Crest Scenic Byway offers views from high atop Sandia Crest with year-round activities from skiing to mountain biking or just taking a hike in the lush Cibola National Forest. Farther north along the trail, you hit Golden, New Mexico, the site of the first gold rush west of the Mississippi back in 1825. Shoppers will find their adventure in Madrid. The once booming coal mining town is now a revitalized ghost town where you can step back into a bygone era and recapture the spirit of the Old West in a number of ways, from taking in the Melodrama Theater and Museum to browsing at any number of shops brimming with local flavor. Up the trail, or Highway 14 as it's known, it is said that turquoise, mined in Cerrillos, once found its way to the crown jewels of Spain. The quiet little town no longer offers 21 saloons and 4 hotels, but it has provided many an authentic backdrop for Hollywood westerns, including Young Guns. Without long side trips, your Turquoise Trail adventure is a comfortable one-day trip the whole family will enjoy. Augusta Myers, Action 7 News.
We'll be right back with a celebration of Southwest New Mexico. We'll show you a birdwatcher's paradise, the biggest lake in the state, and a lot more.
Plus, we'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to get our Celebrate broadcast on the air. So stay with us. We're on the road again right after this break. When we say on the road to Celebrate New Mexico, we mean on the road. Our caravanning crew crisscrossed New Mexico with enough gear to set up a TV station anywhere, no matter how remote. At the heart of our tour, of course, is Satellite 7, our state-of-the-art satellite uplink truck. It sends a signal up to a satellite where it's bounced back to Earth and eventually to your TV set. Inside are all the electronics to do that, plus handle cameras and communications. It has a special mast to receive pictures from our Sky 7 helicopter and transmit those to the satellite. We can even link up with our computer system at the station. There's a huge amount of equipment to set up at each stop, lights, cameras, and a lot of action to get it all ready.
Oh, this is wonderful. What a neat town.
Nelson and I have our own jobs, learning more about the towns we visit. And when one stop is over and it's time for the crew to tear down, we tear out for the airport and the flight back to Albuquerque each night for the 10 o'clock news. But now let's go back on the road and celebrate Southwest New Mexico.
Well, I got to tell you, Diane, we certainly have half the town here. You know, there are 10,375 people living in Silver City, and it looks like the whole town showed up.
It's too bad Dick is stuck back in Albuquerque, the studio, because he really is missing a lot of fun out on the road with Satellite 7.
That's right. You know, Silver City was the first incorporated town in the territory of New Mexico, we'll have you know. The town still operates under its original charter granted in 1878.
You know, Silver City is right in the midst of a novel project right now, attempting to create a downtown that meets modern-day needs without losing a former-day charm. Dan Monahan visited Silver City a few weeks ago, and he now gives us a glimpse of the renovation project.
Calling it road construction is a stretch. Roadside construction would be more accurate. Silver City sidewalks are getting a going over, but there are great stories in that old cement, stories worth saving. In 1907, Elizabeth Warren was the most successful insurance agent in the entire Southwest, and as a result, also owner of 81 pieces of Silver City property. That's the year the city passed a new law requiring that all downtown property owners put in sidewalks at their own expense.
She couldn't afford to do this for 81 properties. So she decided to learn how to make her own.
With the help of her friend Matilda Kaler, Warren made the city's first and arguably best sidewalks. They were so good, other owners hired the two women, and some of those sidewalks survive, with the name Warren still faintly readable, and a few of the horse hitching rings still in place. Now history is repeating itself, as two women are also overseeing the sidewalk renovation.
Well, I was always fascinated by those women, and I've read everything I can about them. I don't aspire to be as great as they were, but in terms of them as role models, definitely.
I guess there could be a sense of kinship. There's certainly the same sense of dedication to doing a quality job.
The project managers say almost every corner is unique, and in their words, uniquely ugly, maybe even impractical. With curbs that are too high and ramps that are too steep, the two women are facing complex issues of historic preservation and handicapped access that their predecessors couldn't imagine. When the renovation is complete this fall, the goal is a downtown that looks no different at all. Those hitching rings and a few slabs of select cement will remain to help serve as reminders that Silver City still owes a debt to the original two women who paved the way. Dan Monahan, Action 7 News.
Just down the road from Silver City, is the city of Deming. And the people who turned out for our visit there were just as enthusiastic.
We have a great turnout. And we're having a great time.
That's right, and we have a gentleman from the Chamber of Commerce here in Deming. Quick 10 seconds, tell us your best bit of Deming.
Good weather, good people, good water, duck races, and fast bicycles.
There you go.
An hour or so from Deming, a little longer for a fast bicycle or a racing duck, is Las Cruces. Teresa Davis McKee shows us what's what in New Mexico's second largest city.
As a city that lies between the Organ Mountains and the Rio Grande River, Las Cruces has plenty of scenic views. But besides the beauty, there's a lot of history here in the city called the Gateway to the Southwest. Nestled in the Mesilla Valley at the foot of the majestic Organ Mountains, Las Cruces has been a stopping and camping spot for travelers since the 16th century. But there's some mystery in the hills. In the late 1860s, a cave at the base of the mountains served as the home of a hermit monk who was later found murdered. Today, visitors can step back in time and tour this unique rock formation. Dripping Springs Resort is just up the road from La Cueva and was originally built in the 1870s. Each year, visitors tour the ruins of this mountain camp, now a diverse recreational spot. Just south of Las Cruces is Old Mesilla, which has some history of its own. In 1854, the Gadsden Purchase was celebrated in the village plaza. It's the land deal in which Mexico gave the U.S. more than 40,000 square miles of land in exchange for $10 million. Mesilla was also the crossroads of the El Camino Real and the Butterfield Overland Stagecoach route. La Posta Restaurant, now more than 175 years old, is the only overland mail way station still used as a watering hole by tourists. It's sheltered such personalities as Kit Carson, General Douglas MacArthur, Pancho Villa, and even Billy the Kid. It was in Mesilla that the Kid was once convicted of murder, but he broke out of jail before his sentence was carried out. In addition to colorful history, this area is also a shopping mecca. Shops and galleries line the plaza in Old Mesilla. And if it's pieces of the past you want, this historical area is a gold mine. Antiques in Las Cruces are said to be among the best priced in the state. And last but not least, one of the biggest tourist attractions in Las Cruces is the weather. The city averages 350 sunny days a year.
Our Celebrate New Mexico tour took us to a lot of pretty places, but only one was guaranteed to be a beaut.
You've seen a picture from Sky 7 of Tier C.
That's right.
With Elephant Butte, where we are right in the background. We're at Marina del Sur aboard the Desert Eagle, courtesy of our captain, Tom Savoy. He's better known as Chip, and he and his crew are from Tijeras, but they spend most every weekend here about the boat and aboard the boat, and why not? Before Truth or Consequences renamed itself for the popular game show, it was called Hot Springs.
That's right. After a tour of the area, though, it's not hard to see why. And there's a lot more to do in the area.
If you want to relax after a day of water skiing, you can soak in a hot mineral bath. The baths are located all over town. A definite must-see is the Geronimo Springs Museum, known as Geronimo, of course, but the museum showcases the history of the city and the surrounding area. Inside are ancient Native American artifacts, a display on how the dam was built, and a genuine log cabin that was brought in from the Gila National Forest. But the highlight is the Ralph Edwards Wing, which contains memorabilia from the community's long relationship with the game show producer. You can watch continuous showings of the TV shows, Truth or Consequences.
The winds played tricks with us again as our Celebrate tour went to the Bosque del Apache just south of Socorro. A thunderstorm got just a little too close for comfort.
I'll tell you what, if you like wind, rain, if you like the elements, this is the place to be. The storm is approaching.
This afternoon when we got here was hot sunshine, just a few clouds, and now look, just a few hours later, I feel like we're in a hurricane zone. So stick around. Teresa Davis McKee will give us a tour of what there is to see and do in this area.
The patient summer visitor will spot turtles, deer, coyotes, rabbits, and more at the Bosque. It's also a great place to bring your mountain bike for a scenic ride. But take your bug spray and sunscreen. Still, the refuge is best known for the thousands of birds that live there or make a stop during migration. Visitors to the city of Socorro find an impressive blend of history and high tech. Just walk centuries-old streets in the plaza for a taste of the city's past. Socorro began as a mining and ranching settlement in the 17th century. Socorro's Mineral Museum on the New Mexico Tech campus holds the largest geological collection in the state.
More than 10,000 specimens are on display, including fossils, mining artifacts, and mineral samples from all over the world. Socorro is also home to the New Mexico Fire Training Academy. Firefighters from across the state train at the state-of-the-art multi-million-dollar facility, which opened in 1985. West of Socorro, about 50 miles, is the Very Large Array National Radio Astronomy Observatory. It's free and open to the public. The 27 dish-shaped antennae each measure 82 feet in diameter and extend 13 miles across an ancient lake bed. It's considered the world's premier instrument for detecting radio sources beyond the Milky Way. In Socorro, Teresa Davis McKee, Action 7 News.
Still ahead, old New Mexico, really old. We'll show you the Anasazi legacy when we celebrate Northwest New Mexico next.
We're at the Aztec Ruins National Monument today. It's an amazing and beautiful structure that reminds you of what life was like 2,000 years ago here in the Four Corners area of New Mexico.
About 70 miles south of here is another breathtaking park, the Chaco Culture National Historical Park.
The best way to see Chaco Canyon is on foot. 4 backcountry trails take hikers all over the park, and each one features a different ruin. This one goes up through a crack in the canyon wall with an incredible high-angle view of the Quincletzo ruin.
They're really great. They take care of them, and they're accessible to the general public, and they give you great viewpoints.
To get a permit, you just simply ask us. We give it to you. It doesn't cost you anything. But you do have to tell us which trail you're going to be on which day.
Ranger G.B. Cornucopia knows these trails the best. For 9 years now, he's been helping hikers choose their trails. Chaco requires hikers to check in and get a permit, and he'll probably remind you about a Chaco essential.
They really do need to bring plenty of water. Now, we have water here, but they need to take it with them on the backcountry trails, at least 2 quarts per person.
Some first-time visitors to Chaco Canyon think these rock piles are actual Anasazi ruins. They're not. They're trail markers put here by the Park Service to make sure visitors stay on the right path. Park personnel take pride in the trails. You have to be willing to hike to see most of the ruins, and you'll miss a lot if you just drive through. Getting here takes a commitment too. 20 miles of washboard road isolates the park from highways. But for people like Olga who invest the time and energy to get here, the payoff is worth it.
Oh, I think it's terrific because you don't get your average tourist that might go off the trail and maybe not respect what the national park had in mind.
Come back to the 20th century for some recreation just east of Aztec. Navajo Lake is a scenic setting for boating or camping, or drop below the dam for some of the best fly fishing in the Southwest along the San Juan River.
Why'd you pick here?
I said the girls are prettier and the fish are bigger.
Back in Farmington, you can trade your boat and pole for a cart and clubs. The city's Pinon Hills Golf Course is rated #1 in the state by Golf Digest.
The golf pros tell us this is a course that requires you to use every club in your bag.
It's an excellent course, so it really lives up to its rating.
AABC, this ball is hit high and deep to center field.
Farmington also plays host to some of the best amateur baseball in the country. Every summer, teams from the U.S. and Puerto Rico play in front of college and pro scouts at the Connie Mack World Series baseball tournament. And you may not want to leave town without doing a little shopping at one of the local trading posts. You'll find Navajo rugs, alabaster carvings, silver and turquoise jewelry from the delicate to the outrageous. Perhaps a little souvenir of your Farmington fun.
No question about it, quite a Chacoan influence here in this area.
Right there are several different ruins, Mesa Verde,
Yep.
Chaco Canyon, Aztec ruins. They all have similar ways of life, but different regional cultures. You know, the name Aztec is actually a misnomer because the early Anglo settlers thought that these magnificent structures just had to have been from the Aztec Empire in Mexico, when actually they were Anasazi.
That's right, and the Anasazi left this area about 1150, probably because of a 60-year drought they were experiencing, or maybe because they depleted all the resources and they headed down toward the Rio Grande where the water was plentiful.
The Anasazi live on in a way in Farmington, where a summertime pageant brings the ancient ones to life.
The pageant is certainly something, but the place where it's performed is something else.
We're at the Lions Wilderness Park Amphitheater. This is where they put on the Anasazi pageant that you're familiar with. And these sandstone bluffs and this ever-changing sky provide a perfect backdrop for this open-air theater. The Anasazis years ago used this area as a campsite, and now it's just a theater for us.
Really is nice. They alternate the plays here, Under the Stars, A Foreigner, as well as she mentioned, the Anasazi, the Ancient Ones.
Anasazi, the Ancient Ones, is becoming a tradition here in Farmington. Under starry New Mexico skies, each summer, thousands turn out to watch this living family heirloom.
It's been thrilling from the very beginning. I had no idea what would happen with this script. I knew it was a good script, but I'm continually thrilled.
Sharon wrote the story from real-life accounts about her great-great-great-grandmother, Blackshaw, the part she plays herself. It's the story about Sarah Mara Boots, given to Mormon settlers as an infant, and how Sarah has to learn to grow up in two different cultures, Anglo and Navajo. She grows up Mormon the first 12 years of her life. Then Blackshaw, her maternal grandmother, takes her back to learn the Navajo way of life. Along the way, the audience learns with Sarah all about Navajo beliefs, making the story a living history lesson. The popularity of the Anasazi pageant seems to be growing. Judging by the crowds at each performance, it's turning out to be a big attraction for Farmington. Before each run, the cast, mostly locals, make sure they look the part. Then a rousing rendition of one of the show tunes summons the energy for a first-class performance. Under the lights and in front of the crowd, the spirit of the play comes to life. Sharon's daughter, Julie, plays the role of Sarah's Mormon mother. The play is about two cultures, but it can have a universal appeal.
It doesn't matter what culture you're from or what color your skin is. A woman's heart is always the same.
That message and the popularity of the play is good news for Farmington.
Joining us now is Marilyn Taylor, who is the creative director for the amphitheater. What's it like creating a production with such a dramatic backdrop?
The setting does a lot of our work for us because people come out here and immediately they're ready for the show. They're ready to have the experience. As soon as they walk over the hill, the first thing they see is this gorgeous amphitheater. And it really connects them to an ancient tradition of Greek theater. We have these gorgeous starry nights. And so I think one of the things that's exciting is that this does a lot of our work for us, and people are anxious to experience it.
And you've got lights, you've got microphones, and you've got two plays, the Anasazi, the Ancient Ones, and the Foreigner. Why two plays?
A lot of people in this area have seen Anasazi now that we're in our 8th year in this space. And so The Foreigner is a delightful comedy. We wanted to bring back some of the people who've been here year after year and been our loyal clientele. Also, it gives people a reason to stay in the area 2 nights instead of 1. We were conscious of that as well.
Sure. Is it challenging ever to work against the elements? You have rain, wind?
Absolutely. Wind is hard on the mics. Rain is always difficult. We have a lot of Native Americans in the cast who wear moccasins. It's slick. There's some real risk working in this kind of space, too.
Quickly, these are professional actors.
We bring a number of people in from outside, but we have a number of people who've been with us from this area now for 8 seasons.
Terrific.
And they're pros as well.
Marilyn is just one of the great people we met on our tour to celebrate New Mexico.
And Farmington, as you've seen, is just one of the great places. If you'd like more information about places to go and things to see in New Mexico, call the State Tourism Department toll-free at 1-800-545-2040. They'll be glad to help you out.
Thank you for joining us for this Best of Celebrate New Mexico. We hope we showed you some places you'd like to see for yourself.
And we hope you'll join us again the next time we hit the road to celebrate New Mexico. It truly is the land of enchantment.